Hello, you lot. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's certainly been a while since I've done a live, and it's also been a while, at least a couple of weeks, since I uploaded a video. Now that will change, and part reason for my slackness is because there's lots of things going on. What I want to do is cover a couple of things over a short period of time in this live video. I will keep an eye on the feed in case there's any questions coming. I don't expect anybody to turn up at this time, but you never know, they might do. I can see one person is watching right now, so thank you. First off, let me just give you a few tips about the holiday season and how to start the new year correctly. Right now, we all know there is a lot of fear, anxiety, stress, I think wherever you are in the world. I mean, unless you're on a beach somewhere and you've avoided the media and the news, it's very hard to escape at the moment. Unless you've got tools in your armory to deal with this ever increasing, I was about to say threat, and it is actually what the body believes is threat. If you don't have those tools, then doubtless you're probably going to be suffering at least a little bit. And as we know, our governments, the media are not helping the situation. They're not really providing useful advice in order to cope and deal with what's going on in the world right now. So let me just give you a few tips. We know that the Christmas season is coming up, and we know therefore that for a lot of us, especially those with families, the Christmas season can actually be quite stressful. It shouldn't be. And a lot of the reason why it is because it's been wrongly packaged. And maybe you haven't thought about how to live over those 2 weeks with your children, doing the right things and not succumbing to, well, let's face it, the drink, the booze, the food rather, the technology. So first thing I want you to consider is, if you don't have much of a routine right now, if you don't have much of a wellness or an optimization, health optimization program, start doing it now. Build it into your life now. Don't wait until Christmas. I know for a lot of people, they're really working hard right now, putting a lot of hours into their job, and they're really just waiting for this break that's looming in the hope that it's going to be a holiday. You will probably it's probably easy to remind yourself that many times in the past, when you've entered Christmas in the hope that it's going to be a nice, relaxing holiday, by the time you reach the end of it, you feel more tired than when you entered it. So let's see if we can make sure that that doesn't happen. The way to do that, first of all, is to start practicing the various stuff that I bang on about on my channel. Build it into your life now. Don't wait until Christmas. In other words, get your body used to it. Get your mind used to it. Start becoming more resilient to this. This will only help as well with your immune system. It will help with your psychological strength, your overall well-being. It's going to make you feel more positive. There are times, I think, over the Christmas period for some people where they're not really too interested in spending time with other members of the family, but they know that they've got to do it. Well, just a few breathing exercises will greatly help. I mean, even just a simple nice long exhale through pursed lips. Do that 3 or 4 times before you open the door to your family, and that will greatly help. But also, how you wake up in the morning. I know I've said this many times before, but in case I need to repeat this, how you wake up in the morning is crucial to how the day is going to go. So make sure you have a good morning routine. When you wake up, sit up, back straight, feet on the floor. Allow thoughts to enter your mind. And yes, there's going to be some negative introspection. There's going to be some negative chit chat. Allow those thoughts to enter your mind. Just don't allow any kind of analytical thought to them. So don't judge them. Don't try and think where they come from. Just recognize them. And it's like I said to you before, simply say to yourself, oh yeah, that's a feeling. And oh yeah, that's a thought. But that's all you're doing. You're just labeling it as a feeling or a thought. You're not judging it or trying to analyze it. They will fade after a while. Then get down on the floor. Start doing the 5 Tibetan rites or any kind of yogic style of movement and breathing flow. The 5 Tibetan rites are on my channel. There's 2 versions on there. Give it a go. It's so simple to do. It's easy and it makes you feel so good. It just wakes your whole body up. Then do a little bit of breath work. Again, lots on my channel, loads all over the YouTube platform as well. Then go and do your cold shower. Now, obviously, for some people, especially in the wintertime, that cold therapy is not the most attractive idea, but I highly recommend right now, more than any other, you start to build it into your life. You've got the perfect opportunity now to start recreating a new routine, a new existence, a new modus operandi or a modus vivendi, your new way of being and moving through the world. So I highly recommend you start building these in. I see some questions coming, and I'll come back to those in a second. Thank you for those, by the way. Then a couple of other things. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, we know as far as health is concerned, they're a write-off, and it doesn't matter. That's okay. Gorge on the food, gorge on the alcohol. There's no point trying to be a monk over those days. It's not going to happen. So make the most of it. Enjoy it, but don't extend it beyond Boxing Day. And what I highly recommend as well, as you move into the last few days before Christmas Day, why don't you try just eating less? Extending the window where you're not eating, intermittent fasting. Don't go overboard with it. Don't go too extreme. Your body won't like it. It'll be too much of a contrast. But if you haven't considered intermittent fasting, now's the time to start considering it. And then you can re-employ it again the day after Boxing Day. You don't have to do it every day. I don't recommend you do it every day in the first instance. Just do it a couple of days a week. See how you feel. Just keep extending that window. Play around with it. We're all different. We are physically different, mentally different. So what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you, but fasting works for everybody. You just have to figure out how you do it and to what extent. And after a while, you can start working up to the 36-hour, 48 hours, 72 hours, etc. Now, before I come to some other things, let me just, hello, Rusty. Hello, Matt. Thank you for that. Who else have we got here? Sounds like I need to hear this. I was just thinking of how I need to get off YouTube and do something this morning. Yeah, sorry about that if I've lured you back onto YouTube. But yeah, absolutely. We are in a swipe left, right society now, aren't we? We are driven by this technology. We have to be disciplined. We have to make the technology work for us rather than let it control us. For many people, it's controlling you. In fact, there's lots of things that are controlling you. And I'm not even getting into a kind of conspiracy mindset here, but it's understandable. With what we've created in our lives, we've built lots of barriers that are stopping us from moving through the world as we should, from interacting with others in a positive way as we should, from activating our inner pharmacy of chemicals. So there's loads of things that we are doing wrong, but it's very easy to fix and make right. And if you start thinking about it now, it means that 2022 is going to go right. And it's going to go well for you, despite what's going on in the world right now, which, let's face it, is a pile of poo. And it can be easily a case of you being dragged into that in the perception that life is terrible, but it isn't. And you can recreate this. You can now get excited for life and inspire yourself for a new year, the 2022. Ignore what's going on in the world, in the sense that I stopped watching and reading the news years ago, and I've never, ever regretted that. And I highly recommend that you do that. Even if you believe what's being put out there at the moment, I'm not saying whether I do or don't, by the way, I'm just saying that regardless of your opinion about what's going on, in the main, the news and the media are only putting out sensationalist stories, negative stories, and those stories affect your own psychology. So if you can turn those off, you don't need to watch them. If anything serious is happening, I can bet you now a friend or family will tell you. You don't need to be told about what's going on in the world right now. I sound a bit dictatorial now, don't I? I don't mean to be. I'm kind of in an excitable fashion, so I hope it's not too shouty. I'll end up getting on my pulpit and doing some evangelizing in a second. We just go back to yes, morning routine is key. Thanks, Don. So Don is a good friend of mine. I highly recommend you check him out. He's a chap a little bit older than me, an incredibly accomplished triathlete. His posts are amazing. Triathlon Don, I like to call him. And I'm trying to remind myself now, Don, of your of your channel. But anyway, certainly on Instagram, he's all over the place. He's doing some amazing things. I got post-COVID. What's that say? Parosmia 3, 3 months ago. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying there, Rusty. But I'm guessing is a condition where everything tastes like rotten food. Oh, wow. So no coffee, good breakfast. Oh, wow. Yeah. Now, on that note, many viruses end up in this post draining condition where they affect you for the long haul. I personally believe that the way that you stop those experiences and those symptoms from happening is what you do initially upon contracting the virus. Now, again, I'm not an expert here. It's just what I personally believe. But I think if you chuck everything at your virus, as soon as you recognize that you've got it, theoretically, you shouldn't get those long-term conditions. That's a personal belief, like I said. Now, routine, we've ticked that. Building in breath work, cold therapy, working on your mind, building in practices that are mindful. Mindfulness, by the way, is very easy. You might not think that, but it really is. Think about when you're doing your washing up the next time. You can turn that into a mindful activity. Now, assuming you're not doing you haven't got a dishwasher, but any chore you can turn into a mindful activity. All you do is you pour all of your focus and attention on the chore itself. You start to breathe through doing that chore. You focus on the inhale as it goes in, cold air through the nose, warm air out. You then focus on the movement of whatever it is that you're doing. It could be sweeping the leaves outside. And when you're outside, you then take in what's the world around you through your senses. What can you smell, hear, feel? And by doing all of that, it slows down the monkey mind. Because when you pour all of your attention into your senses, what you can touch, feel, hear, and through the action of doing the chore, it slows this down because your brain can't cope with also chucking loads of negative introspection at you. It's a trick, it's a mind hack, but it's very simple and easy to do. For many people, meditation is too hard. Try mindfulness and try it when you're next doing a chore. And that's another thing. You've got probably a 2-week break for most of us over the holiday season. That means there's a lot of downtime, assuming you're not going to be working. So that also means that given what goes on over the holiday season, great movies on TV, new pieces of technology that lure you in, it's very easy to wake up and follow that old routine, revert to the old routine of what you did over Christmas Day and Boxing Day. There's still food left over. You gorge yourself again. If you keep doing that, by the end of the holiday, you're going to be wanting another break. Be disciplined. Set yourself an alarm the day after Boxing Day. That alarm should say, wake up and let's get excited or something like that, because you're now creating, you're further enhancing that new existence, a new way of living. So that could be that you wake up and think, right, I'm not going to gorge myself on the leftovers. I'm just going to wait a few more hours. I'm not going to turn on the technology. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to go for a walk with the family. And even if they protest, I'm going to drag them along and we're going to start breathing as we walk. We're going to take in what the world around us. We're going to look up. And if you've got children, you're going to enter their world and invoke the child within. All of these little simple tools are free, they're easy, and they will help to slow this down. And they'll help to provide those moments of real time, those moments of present time when you can really start to think strategically about what you're going to do for the new year. I'll come back with another couple of ideas there, but before I do, some new programs. So starting in January, you can get signed up for this. If you've experienced any kind of trauma in your life, PTSD, then you might like to try my new Transcend Your Trauma program. It's an online 4-week program. There's 4 live sessions at the end, and every day you're supplied with lessons, videos, and it takes you through breathing techniques, mindfulness practice, NLP techniques, cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, and it builds it up over a 4-week period so that you're eventually going to disconnect from your attachment to old memories, these memories that have somehow latched onto the amygdala, that fight flight response, because of the overwhelm of emotion that occurred to you when you had that traumatic experience. By doing this course, you can detach yourself from that old experience. So that might be something you want to consider. We're going through the testing phase right now with a few guinea pigs. So hopefully by the end of it, I'll have some people that will be able to tell you how good it is, I hope. Also, my new Breath and Flow membership. I've had membership now running for a few months, but I had 3 different price ranges. And actually, the top one was way too expensive. And it's taken me a while to figure out what it is that I want to offer you. And I've now set it as a one-off price per month at $49.99. Every week you get live sessions with me. Every week you get emails from me, either 1 or 2 emails guiding you through different practice. The live session on a Wednesday, which is either breathwork based or it could be knowledge based. And it's incorporating everything that I've learned over the last few years, from breath work to flow state methodology to neurolinguistic programming, clinical hypnotherapy, the works. It's all in there. You'll also have discounted rates to my one-to-one sessions. So I still have a few spaces left actually for my one-to-one. So all of these links will be below if you're interested in those. And we can, well, the one-to-ones would be great because they can really help establish your new path into 2022. Let me just go back to the questions. Also let my breathwork slip during COVID. It's very easy to do that, by the way, Rusty. I totally get that. Yeah, what Rusty has just said there, actually, that his experience has made him ultra mindful about his health, and we all need these wake-up calls. If you don't know already, my journey on YouTube, creating all this stuff that I've done, started with a wake-up call. I had a bang to the head. It was doing something really silly, and the very next day it caused me to act, think differently, want to be a different person, etc. And then I started conducting this research into how I could optimize my brain and my body. And that's why I now teach it all. I'm now an educator at the Flow Code organization as well as an ambassador. So I'm teaching, there's going to be another module on that actually, where I'll be teaching coaches as well. If you're interested in being a coach in flow state methodology, I can drop a link below. There'll be a link as well if you're interested in being a breathwork coach through SOMA Breath. It's an amazing organization, as is Flow Code. So I'll drop links for those. Crikey, there's so much to tell you, isn't there? Oh, and there's also a new evolutionary flow program. I'm partway through. This will be a 4-week program, and this will be everything that I've learned packaged really in such a way where it's for both men and women. But I would imagine there'll probably be more men interested, because it's taking everything that I've done as a man, as a father, and the tools that have greatly helped me be a better version of myself, packaged into 4 weeks. I think it's going to be 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. So anyway, that's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be lots of live sessions in there, weekly, in fact, daily lessons and practices, etc., etc. Whew. Wow. I've really rambled on there, haven't I? And that's the problem. When you stick a camera in front of me, I start rambling. But I hope that's useful. Let me just see if there's any other tips I can give you. The other thing I would say is, and I said this last year actually, forget about your New Year's resolutions. Just chuck the whole idea out the window, because the intention behind it is often wrong, and the psychology is often wrong. What I would recommend is this: rather than having these New Year resolutions around a particular goal, what I want you to start considering right now is, how can I start to create a new way of existing, a new way of moving, a new way of breathing, a new way of lifting, a new way of interacting with other humans, a new way of working? Start posing those questions to yourself right now. Sign up to either my programs or other people's programs, doesn't matter, somebody's program, to start to start the ball rolling about engaging this. Now, whatever it is that you've got planned, work on your mind first. It's a bit like, when at some point in the year, quite a lot of people start thinking, I need to lose weight in order to go on the beach. Again, wrong psychology, wrong intention. So, and what I mean by that is it's too short-termist. What you want to do is think, right, if I want to feel better all the time, if I want to have more energy all the time, if I want to feel like I'm 20 years younger all the time, if I want to have positive engagement with other humans all the time, I need to now think about how my new existence is going to go. In other words, how am I going to build practices into my life that just become a part of me, how I am, who I am? And they're not considered a chore. They're not things that, if you know how, that you can, once built into your life, you'll never have to think, oh, crikey, I've got to do this. I should do this. I need to do this. It will just be a part of how you go through the day. That's the goal I'm trying to teach anybody that comes on my courses or one-to-ones. For a lot of people, they take on practices and then they get to the point where they're bored, or they just start applying the wrong terminology behind it. I really ought to go for a run. I should go for a swim. I should do some breath work. I mean, Rusty, you said there, and good for you for being honest about it, that you started doing breath work and then you quit. That's so common these days. It's not your fault, by the way, in the sense that this happens to a lot of people. All it means is that you entered it with the wrong psychology. You enter it with the right psychology, with a playfulness, with an experimentation to it. Then you will get to a point when it just becomes a part of who you are. And that's what I would love, actually, Rusty, if you follow my journey, if you follow what I do, it'd be great if you could get to that point in 6 months' time or a year, and you send me a message saying, Dave, this is what I now do. In fact, I now teach it. That would be very cool. Let me just see if there's any other, I don't think there's any other questions, but let me just check. Hey, Mr. Cruz. So Martin, if you are the same Martin Cruz whom I know did join SOMA Breath, and I know you've seen some incredible, or you've had some incredible experiences there. So well done, you. I think that is it. So to those that are watching and to those that have commented, thank you very much. 22 minutes is much longer than I was ever expecting this to be. I should set myself a timer, really, shouldn't I? But anyway, I hope it was useful. Links below if you're interested. I will be doing more videos in the run-up to Christmas, I think. So do keep an eye out for those. Actually, yeah, so there's some breathwork collaborations coming up. There's going to be at least a new breathwork video coming up. And then a whole load of new ideas as well for 2022. So thank you for watching. Thanks for following me, and see you soon. Bye for now.